It's Windless Nerd Out time! What's up, you guys? Happy today and happy Wellness Nerd Out time. Today we are going to be talking about the suboccipital muscles and how they can cause headaches and what we can do about those headaches. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So I've attached a link under the menu for today in the comments or whatever to give you a better picture exactly of where these muscles attach, what they do. They even have a video on there at KenHub. It's a great source, a great site if you want to check it out. And if not, or regardless, I'm going to go quickly through the origin, insertion, the innervations, and the blood supply of these four muscles we'll be discussing today. So without further ado, the rectus capitis posterior minor is where we'll start. And the rectus capitis posterior minor, it originates on the posterior tubercle of atlas, or C1. So that's the back of our first vertebra under the skull, in simple. And it attaches onto the skull, onto the base of our skull. Now you can't feel the posterior tubercle of atlas physically like this. The first bump you feel down here below the skull is the spinous process of C2, the second vertebra. So picture it a little bit above that, and it's coming up on either side, basically straight, coming up and inserting here on the base of the occiput and the medial portion, more specifically, of the inferior nuchal line, which is a line that horizontally traverses the occiput, okay? So with the action of the rectus capitis posterior minor, we have extension of the head, and this makes sense. Extension of the head on the neck as an action, as we have these two muscles like this, really one muscle with it's two heads, and if we tighten them, what would happen? If we tighten them, it would pull our head back on our neck, right? So whenever we think of the action of these muscles, wherever they attach, you think of your bicep, right? Coming like this. If we were to tighten that, what would happen? Loosen it. Right? And the same thing goes with all our muscles. When we tighten them, they shorten, and they're going to pull certain structures in certain directions. And so this makes a lot of sense, right? How the rectus capitis posterior minor will act. Now we'll talk about, I guess we'll just say now, the innervation for all four of the suboccipital muscles we're discussing today is the posterior ramus, or the dorsal ramus, we could say, back portion of C1, occipital nerve, right? Suboccipital nerve, dorsal ramus, C1, okay? And the blood supply is the vertebral artery and the occipital artery, okay, to all four of these muscles, all right? Suboccipital nerve, dorsal ramus, C1, vertebral artery, occipital artery. Next up, we have the rectus capitis posterior major, and this sits at a slightly different angle than the rectus capitis posterior minor, which is more kind of vertical like this. The rectus capitis posterior major is kind of like that, and it originates on the spinous process of C2. So you can almost feel where it would originate, that first bump there in the neck, and it comes up a little bit more at an angle, and it inserts a more lateral portion than does the rectus capitis posterior minor at the inferior nuchal line of the occiput, okay? So it inserts onto the skull as well. And the rectus capitis posterior major allows us, when both contract, to extend the head, and also is slightly involved in rotation of the head, because it goes more at an angle. So if you squeeze that, right, tight, it might rotate a little bit too. Next up, we have the obliquus capitis superior. The obliquus capitis superior originates on the transverse processes of atlas, or C1, and inserts in between the superior nuchal line and the inferior nuchal line of the occiput. So just a little bit higher and more lateral of an insertion to the rectus capitis posterior major, and hence minor, of course, right? And the action is similar in the sense of extending the head on the neck, which all of the suboccipital muscles do, but also the obliquus capitis superior is responsible for some slight lateral flexion of the head because it's situated a little bit wider out. So if we tighten that, it might pull the head and bend it a little bit. Makes so much sense. And lastly, before we get into what we could do about these headaches and what will cause them here, we have the obliquus capitis inferior, which originates on the spinous process of C2, or our axis, and inserts on the transverse processes of atlas, or C1. And so obliquus capitis inferior is the only muscle of the suboccipital muscles. It's the largest too, and it's the only muscle of the suboccipital muscles that does not insert onto the skull. And so it goes like this more. It's at this angle, okay? So if we were to tighten that, what would happen? Well, if we tighten both at once, it will pull the head back, sure. But if we tighten just one, when we've been saying, you know, this will make it rotate or do this or that, it's when you're tightening one side, right? Because if we tighten both sides, then it's going to go straight back. So obliquus capitis inferior, if we tighten one side and it's at this angle, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to rotate the head to the same side, all right? And just like obliquus capitis superior will laterally bend with contraction of one side, or ipsilateral contraction, we could say, to the same side, or the ipsilateral side. Contralateral means other side. Right? So that's all well and good, but what can go wrong here? Well, if these muscles are overly tight, right? Overly tight. You can get atrophy of the muscles, you can get hypertrophy, you can have a lot of issues that could cause problems here, but really the more common one is overly tight or hypertonic suboccipital muscles. And these are a common cause of tension headaches or stress headaches or suboccipital headaches, you could call them. And what happens is we get this tension and this pain that feels kind of deep, and it starts here in the top of our neck, the base of our skull, and it kind of wraps around our head to the backs of our eyes. And most commonly it happens on both sides, so it's bilateral, we could say. But sometimes it could happen on just one side, and it's the most common type of headache, so this is definitely worth investigating, right? And what we can do to loosen these muscles is, well, we know their actions, right? We know that what's one thing that all of them do? They all extend the head. So that means when they tighten, they'll all extend the head. So if we want to loosen them, what would we do? Well, we would do the opposite, right? We would flex the head. But we're not going to simply just flex the head. What we're going to do is a chin tuck. So we're going to tuck our chin. Give yourself a double chin. Double chin. Double chin. Now, the way we'll approach this is first, we will do chin tucks and strengthen our deep neck flexors, okay? While also slightly stretching the suboccipital muscles. Really not too much of an effect unless we, use our hands or something else to help stretch them while doing a chin tuck. But the major thing is strengthening our deep neck flexors here, okay? And this improves the way that our head sits on our neck, our posture, right? And so if somebody has a forward head carriage like this, their head rocks forward, sits forward, we do chin tucks to help get it back and keep it over the spine, right? So we're gonna do chin tucks first, bringing it in, making a double chin, double chin, double chin. Can't see mine because the shadow from the sun, but you get the idea. So what we'll do is 15, 20 of them. If you could do 20 of them, that would be great. And for the last 5 of them, I want you to hold it for 5 seconds each time, okay? Now, if we could do a few sets of that per day, that'd be fantastic. Regardless if you have headaches or not, it's good to do, all right? But especially if you have these tension headaches. After we do that, for one set, what we're gonna do is we're gonna tuck it in again, and you could even put it in with your fingers if you want. And you're going to kind of rock it down this time, and you're going to take your hand, and you're going to leave your chin there, okay? You're going to take both hands like this, and you're going to show you from here, and you're going to pull up, like that, slowly, starting just under your skull, going up slowly, 2, 3, 4, 5, again, slightly lateral, 3, 4, 5. Move the fingers out a little. 2, 3, 4, 5. Take them from in and go out. 2, 3, 4, 5. In, out and up, and straight up. So you get the idea. I wanted to show you at that angle so you can see what's going on. So from the side here, you know, I have that chin again tucked. And can you see me well? And it's pulling our head up. Now I say go slow with your fingers because I really want you to press on those suboccipital muscles. They're deep in there. They're not the first muscles you're going to come in contact with. They're not the most superficial, we could say. And so we have to really press in to affect them. You know, I mean, you don't go crazy, very still, but put some decent pressure there and maintain it in the same spot for around, you know, a second or so, and then barely sliding to the next spot and barely along the way that the muscles are situated. Rectus capitis posterior minor, rectus capitis posterior major, obliquus capitis superior, even a little, you know, and obliquus capitis inferior. So that's why we're moving our fingers in these directions, because we're moving along the length of the muscle, okay, to loosen it up. So you'll do that for one set. Now, aside from keeping your head just totally straight, what we can do as well is we can have our hands back there. You already saw how they move, so I'll show you like this. And we can rotate our head a little bit like this, bend it a little bit and rotate it and do the same thing. Same thing. What the hell, I'll show you again. Same thing. Okay, and then we'll do it to the other side. Now, if you can run your fingers up like that slow and hold it at the top, and by the top I mean just under the base, just at the base of your skull here. If you can hold it there each time in all the directions you're going for another second or two, let's do 5 sets of that, okay? Straight and then bent and slightly rotated to each side, all right? So if we do 5, 5, 5, we did our chin tucks first, right? So we do our sets of chin tucks, then we do our sets of the stretching of the suboccipital muscles. We do more chin tucks, more stretching, and then do it a third time. And we'll see how you're feeling, all right? There are other ways that we can get some myofascial release in the suboccipital region. And one of them, you know, I think the aforementioned are the easiest. You know, I think what we just went through is a way that you can do this anywhere you are. And that's what's so beautiful about chin tucks and these simple stretches, things like that, right? So this one, I have a water bottle here. It's the only thing I could really find in my house that has this shape like that, where it kind of dips in here. And the best thing you can really use is 2 tennis balls, and you can tape them, duct tape them together, okay? So you'll have 2 balls like this, and you'll have a little dip in the middle. Right, now it's better than a foam roller or something like that, which will slide around and won't give you quite as much tension, but I'll quickly show you what we can do with this. So I don't recommend using a water bottle. I just couldn't find anything else with this shape, and I want to demonstrate the motion. So get 2 tennis balls, duct tape them together, and now again, the first way we showed you to do this, just standing, should suffice, but if it's not doing the job for you, you can take this. Don't wear something with a hood like I am, so your neck can, and you're gonna put it right in that dip in the middle of right under the base of your skull, that dip is, right? So on either side of the midline, you have these bumps, which would be the tennis balls. What you're gonna do, now look, if you don't hold it, this bottle's gonna move all over, not do anything. You gotta hold the bottle still, and by bottle I mean tennis balls. You're gonna hold them still on each side. Remember, they're duct taped together, okay? And you're gonna roll your head like this, stretching the muscles, and you're gonna keep those tennis balls there and roll it forward, tucking your chin. You're gonna untuck it, roll it forward. You can do the same thing with your head rotated. So you rotate it, and you'll come forward, back, forward, back, and you will, feels kind of good, you'll feel the stretch if you're doing it right. All right, so again, make sure to stabilize those 2 tennis balls while you're doing it so that they're not flying around. And make sure they're duct taped together, absolutely, because then you'll just look ridiculous and it won't be helping you. I want to say again, I think the best way is, the first ways we showed are the first ways where, you're doing it standing with the chin tucks and then just using your hands to stretch it. So I would go for that. And if you have tension headaches, consult your doctor about any other remedies, other things that we could take for headaches and migraines, things like that. But, this is some food for thought if you've been dealing with some tension headaches and you're looking for a simple at-home remedy. So there you go, guys. I hope it helped. Thank you very much. That was a good one. That was fun. We're talking a lot about anatomy in these. I don't know how long we're going to do it, but in these coming videos. But we're going to go through a lot of different muscle groups, and I want to keep it more clinically relevant. And that's why we're talking about headaches today. And I don't want to just, spit innervations and actions and things, but I will mention them, because we should know what all these muscles are doing and where they attach, where they originate, and things like that, right? So there you guys go. I hope you got something out of it. Any questions, message me. I would be happy to answer them. As for now, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow, you guys. Happy Wend Wellness. Thank you.